Welcome to Channel's Business Global with me, Juliana Olayinka, from our studios here in London. Over the next half hour, we'll be looking beyond the business headlines by giving you in-depth perspective on the stories that are affecting all of us. Coming up on today's show, swarms of desert locusts have devastated crops in the Horn of Africa, destroying tens of thousands of acres of farmland in Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia. I'll be speaking with a representative from the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization about the economic implications of the worst locust plague in decades. And later, we'll be hearing from Folashade Okoya, the Chief Executive Officer of the manufacturing conglomerate Eleganza Group. Before all of this, joining me here in the studio is our business correspondent, Simon Pusey, for a breakdown of this week's headline-grabbing stories. And Simon, fears for the global economy over this coronavirus.
Yeah, so this is affecting everyone, really. Obviously, China being such a massive country for the economy. But at the moment, it's the oil producers that are saying they might cut output. This is after the price of oil was slashed by about 20% off its peak in January, as the coronavirus has had an impact on the global economy. Going to the country which is at the center of this, of course, China. They are struggling, really. The Shanghai Composite Index closed nearly 8% lower, its biggest daily drop for more than 4 years, and companies across China are also really struggling to get staff in. A lot of them saying stay at home. They obviously don't want huge companies like Nike or BMW. They don't want their workers going in and catching the virus. So this really will have a big impact for companies across the world. When China 20 years ago, during the SARS outbreak, they were sort of selling T-shirts and it was a more basic economy. Now they're such a key part of the economy that huge companies around the world, things like Apple, there are huge Apple stores in China. They're really going to be felt this across the world.
Well, gosh, we're feeling it, aren't we, even here in the UK? Travelex, this hack happened on New Year's Eve, still causing havoc weeks later. Yeah, so Travelex, this is the currency company. This is where often you'll go to an airport, you'll see a Travelex stand, and when you want to get out the currency for the country that you're going to, you'll get it out from them. But they've been really operating off paper and pencil for the last few weeks. As you say, there was this big hack weeks ago now. And the problem really is for lots of other companies that use Travelex. So there are various banks like Sainsbury's Bank, the RBS, Lloyds, Barclays. Customers from these banks cannot use their online service to get currency like they used to, and it's because of this Travelex hack. A gang called Sodin Okibi claimed to have accessed lots of sensitive customer data, and they've been demanding reportedly $6 million in a ransom to retrieve it. It's unknown whether Travelex have paid that, but they've had to take down their website after the hack was discovered on New Year's Eve, as you say. Travelex, in response, say they are aiming to start resolving services online later this week. Gosh, well, let's hope they can resolve that. Unsurprisingly, Netflix has another rival. Yeah,
so what's your favourite Disney film?
Oh, God, I've got to say Coco. I've got 3 girls, Simon.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, Frozen obviously happens every single winter. There's a new Frozen, and for me, it's Cool Runnings, which I saw the other day.
Classic.
But yeah, so the Disney have got in on the whole sort of Netflix idea, and it's gone a lot better than planned, really. Walt Disney said about 28.6 million people had signed up for what they call Disney Plus since it started in November. The service costs $6.99 per month, and yes, as you say, it's Disney's answer to the rising competition from Netflix. Disney Plus now has almost as many subscribers as the firm's earlier on-demand streaming service, many people will have heard, called Hulu, which was founded in 2007. So yeah, the rise of Netflix and the popularity of Netflix certainly going to have a lot more sort of copycats, but Disney are very well placed, obviously, to take them on.
Gosh, I've got more money to spend at the end of the month. Simon Pusey, thank you as always. Here's some other business news from across the globe. Ahead of this summer's Olympic Games in Tokyo, an entrepreneur has created a mosque on wheels to accommodate the thousands of Muslim visitors that will descend upon Japan. The modified truck can accommodate up to 50 people. Inside, it includes taps and a washing area for pre-worship cleansing. Former British Prime Minister David Cameron rejected an offer from the government to lead a major United Nations climate summit taking place in November. Known as COP26, the summit in Glasgow is seen as a moment of truth for the 2015 Paris Agreement to combat global warming. Britain will be responsible for persuading major powers to agree to more ambitious emissions cuts.
Mr. Cameron, why did you turn down COP26?
Well, it was an honour to be asked to do that job, and I was very grateful to be asked. But I think it's best in these situations. If you have a government minister doing the job, you then have sort of one line of command rather than perhaps two people doing the same thing. So I thought that was best, but it was an honour to be asked.
Earlier this week, the US President Donald Trump used his State of the Union speech to promote low unemployment and rising wages. Observers suggest the speech showcased what will be Trump's primary message as he heads into a re-election campaign that he hopes will be a referendum on the United States' economy.
We are advancing with unbridled optimism and lifting our citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed very, very high. Since my election, we have created 7 million new jobs, 5 million more than government experts projected during the previous administration. The unemployment rate is the lowest in over half a century. And very incredibly, the average unemployment rate under my administration is lower than any administration in the history of our country.